A pleasant good evening from Soccer County, where the fixtures begin to come thick and fast in USL League One. It is Westchester SC hosting Sarasota Paradise, and today's match is presented by Northwell Health. We say hello and welcome alongside the former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey. I'm Sam Goldfarb, and Gary, for Westchester, what a win it was last week. Their first league victory, and they set records in the process.
Thumping Corpus Christi 5-1, Conor McGlynn with the penalty, then Jonathan Jimenez and that pass by Kyle Evans. But you got to wait for this golazo coming up here. Conor McGlynn from 30 yards into the back of the net.
An unreal strike for McGlynn. That effectively puts the match out of reach. And then they score twice more in the closing stages to wrap up that 5-1 victory. And of course, our player to watch, the man who provided a brace in that fixture in Conor McGlynn.
He's got a background at Hartford and Rhode Island, so you know he's a quality player, scored 4 goals, and he's a leader driving that team from midfield. What a special player to have in your team.
He is the captain for Westchester, at the center of everything. On the opposite end of things, for Sarasota, competitive in each of their first 4 fixtures, but only 1 win in that span.
Yeah, Boise there winning 1-0, Kostashin getting that goal. Aaron Walker got a fantastic strike here against Portland. A little bit of a deflection on the way, but this is what you want to see if you're Sarasota. What you don't want to see, though, up against one Knoxville, was allowing easy goals, players to turn in the box. Have a look here. The ball's going to come to DN. He's allowed to turn, stick it in the corner, and that was the difference.
A 2-1 defeat against one Knox. They made some rotation tonight. Chandler O'Dwyer leads the line.
He's big, he's an aerial threat, but if you're an aerial threat, you need service. They've got to get balls in there. If Sarasota get O'Dwyer balls, then the chances are that he will score tonight.
A big physical threat up top for the Paradise. Just about ready to get everything underway here from Westchester County. A first ever clash between Westchester and Sarasota Paradise. Stick with us, lineups and kickoff when we return from Westchester County. US Open Cup returns to Soccer County tonight.
Saved by Molina, Westchester prevails!
It is a flying start for Westchester. And it's all signed, sealed, and delivered.
Eligible for Medicare? Here's a great new reason to be happy. You may qualify for money-saving programs that could lower your Medicare costs. Just talk to a Health First specialist about programs like Extra Help, Epic, and more. To learn how New Yorkers like you can save, call 1-844-434-6399. Health First Medicare Advantage Plans, where healthy starts.
Come on, get happy.
Raising health means elevating the care that we can get in our backyard. The Westchester Soccer Club is part of the United Soccer League that has now expanded into Westchester.
It's a brand new USL One team competing all across the country, bringing the love for the sport of soccer to the area.
Northwell is going to provide them the best care possible, going to the games, making sure that we're on site for each home game. If an injury pops up, we get those players in immediately.
The partnership between the Westchester Soccer Club and Northwell Health is very exciting.
Northwell's vision is to raise health, so we offer the full gamut of orthopedic services, serving the community in Westchester. That's where my family lives, that's where I live, and that's my purpose here.
We welcome you to Westchester County, where we are just about set for kickoff in this first ever clash between Westchester Soccer Club and Sarasota Paradise. And today's match presented by Northwell Health. It's time to give a look at today's starting lineups, which are presented by RXR Realty, Westchester Soccer Club's first choice for housing solutions. And Gary, 4 changes for the Golden Apple tonight.
Starting with the goalkeeper, Andrew Hammersley, in for Mateus Molina. Then Bobby Pierre gets a start. Guzen, Erman Makic. To the bench goes Charlie Dickerson, Sam Powder, and Daniel Burka. Of course, resting some key players because next week they have NYCFC in the Cup.
Heavy rotation to cap off a 3-match week that dates back to their Open Cup second-round fixture against Vermont Green last Wednesday. On the opposite end of things, Gary, 4 changes as well from Sarasota's last match Saturday.
Callum stretches in, Sean Karani gets a start, Max Tainio, Chandler O'Dwyer up front, which we featured him at the start. And to the bench go Jorgen Pedersen, Ethan Bryant, Jonathan Bolaños, and Garrett McLaughlin. A bit of rotation and rest for some of those players.
It is the middle of a 3-match week as well for the Paradise, so they make changes in addition to Westchester. Just about ready to get everything underway. Westchester and Sarasota Paradise. This is the first trip the Paradise make outside the state of Florida to open their inaugural professional season. They take on a Westchester side fresh off its best performance in club history at the weekend. Just await Rodrigo Albuquerque's signal to get everything underway here from the stadium at Memorial Field. It is Sarasota in the black jerseys with the pink shorts, going from right to left on your screen. Westchester in their away whites, going from left to right. And we are underway here from Westchester County, the first ever clash between these two proud football clubs. Sam Goldfarb, the former Manchester United goalkeeper, Gary Bailey on hand. We thank you for joining us. And Gary, for Westchester, it's about the best performance you could have possibly drawn up on Saturday, but now it's about flipping the page with a new look 11 here.
It is, they've got to keep it going. Both these teams have the same record, 1 win, 1 draw, 2 losses. It's not bad. It's not good enough, though, if you're Westchester. A tough season last season. They want to really get going now. For Sarasota, you can give them a little bit more slack. The first season, the first couple of games, they've already shown some real quality, and they're going to work their way into the season. But for Westchester, especially at home, vital 3 points for them today.
A heavy slate of home fixtures to open the year for Westchester. George Jokai mentioning that there would be rotation and the result is important, but he understands that it might not be the heights they hit on Saturday, just due to the fact that they are trying to preserve legs for that clash Tuesday night against NYCFC. Although this is turned over, and here's Makic, who slips in Guzen and already forces a strong save out of Alex Sutton.
That's not a bad save from the goalkeeper. That was hit really hard and a good move. Lovely built up here. Ball coming in from Makic. Perfect weight on it as well, and hit with some power by Dean Guzen. Goalkeeper stands up nice and brave. Not always easy to do when that ball's about to knock you over, but good save there from Alex Sutton.
Already seeing Dean Guzen's attacking intent. He's matched his season goal tally from a year ago through the opening 4 matches of the league campaign. And here he is again in a pocket of space. Powder's first time ball off the mark for Makic. Have a tendency to start quick. Remember their second match of the season against Charlotte Independence. They scored inside the opening minute. Dean Guzen setting a club record for fastest goal ever, 45 seconds in. And he seemed intent on replicating that.
Oh, they're not doing bad scoring goals either. 10 goals in 4 matches, Westchester. That's impressive. For Sarasota, just the 4 goals in 4. So clearly you expect Westchester to be creating goals. The only problem for Westchester is they've conceded 9, scored 10, conceded 9. If they could be tighter in defense, which is pretty much what George Jokai has been asking his team to do, and keep scoring those up front, then suddenly you're looking good to maybe even go on and win the title.
He is ever the romantic, George Jokai. He wants to play an advanced attack-minded style, and that does have its byproducts both directions. As Karani strolls forward for Sarasota. Can't pick out O'Dwyer. First foray forward for Sarasota Paradise. Showed you off the top. Every match decided by a goal or less through their first 4 games of the season. Miki Lavara saying that they've been tight enough at the back, but going forward, need to be a touch more decisive in the final third. And this gives us a chance to check in with our Northwell Health injury report. Nothing officially reported for Westchester, although Miguel Diaz not in the squad yet again. He's a young dynamic winger that has not featured since the Charlotte match.
Back to your comment about Sarasota. Mika Elavara saying to us, and the word he uses, we're not clinical enough in attack. A lot of coaches use that word clinical. Basically means, you know, when you create 2 chances, you've got to score 1 of them. Those sort of odds are the odds that coaches would love to see. Hasn't quite been the case with Sarasota, but again, settling in. This is going to take time. This is a season in which you don't expect them to necessarily finish in the top 2 or 3, but I think you'd like to see them make the playoffs.
Keep in mind, this is as well a first-year professional side. The last 3 years, a USL League Two outfit, and so plenty of turnover as a result as they've filled this roster with a slew of established professionals who are still looking to get on the same wavelength. Miguel Lavara has been pleased with the early season performances, even that defeat against One Knox. He said, we had our chances, just didn't take them, and ultimately they're the defending champs for a reason, and they were better in front of goal than we were. Here's Declan Waters, who sprays this forward, far too much on it as it rolls back to Andrew Hammersley, who enters the night joint second in the league in saves.
Which is amazing. He's only played two matches. They've been swapping at the 2 goalkeepers, one playing and then the other one, Mateus Molina, playing the other 2 games. So to have the second highest number of saves, and you've only played half the number of matches of all the other goalkeepers in the league, must have been a busy game.
He made 11 saves in that defeat against Greenville triumph. That was his career high.
Wow, that's a lot in one game.
It flirts with league records, certainly.
Well, back to the point, coach saying we need to be tighter in defense.
Westchester pressing the issue here. An early cross from Powder. Runs all the way back to Kyle Evans, who is one of the top young players in this Westchester side. Finds Makic. Can't pick out Evans on the return ball. And overzealous in an attempt to win it back. And 5 minutes gone. Westchester pressing the issue. Sarasota opting to play the role of counter-aggressor. It's to be expected with the way Westchester has opened matches on this pitch this season. Very assertive in possession.
This is also Sarasota's first away match after 4 at home, so unique experience. They're playing on turf, not grass. That also makes it a little bit of a change. So probably a sensible way to settle into this match against a team that's scoring goals for fun. Just keep it tidy, defend in numbers, get used to the conditions, get used to playing away from home as a team for the very first time, and soak it up, and then slowly ease your way into the match. Start to take little risks here and there, try and build possession through the midfield, and then get your strikers involved.
Quite a rude awakening for your first road match. You head into low 40s, high 30 temperatures after being in Sarasota the first month of the season.
Good point. I was thinking more of the turf versus the grass, but it might be the temperature difference that's the biggest shock for the Sarasota players.
The temperature combined with the turf probably is not friendly. Here's Pierre. Looks for the run of Evans, who's onside and just sprays this wide. They nearly cut through Sarasota like a knife through butter.
That was a lovely move there, and ever so close there from Evans to put that in the back of the net. Beautiful through ball, and he's onto it. Defender's a little bit too far away. Keeper comes, maybe does enough there, Alex Sutton, just to put him off Evans. He's got to flick it over the keeper, and he just overcooks the flick.
Makic is now looking for Evans, and Aaron Walker makes himself an obstacle. Well, back to your point about the turf. We spoke to Mika Lavara this week, and he mentioned that adjusting to the turf would be one of the primary elements that they'd have to battle in this fixture, because they play on a grass pitch at the Premier Sports Campus in Florida.
Yes, looking at the pitch and a lot of curve-coloured lines around the edge of the goalkeeper's box, and not easy for attackers, defenders and keepers to know exactly where the box begins and ends. So another one of the difficulties added into the equation here is playing on an American football field.
It's something Westchester's gotten used to, but certainly a real test for visiting sides, especially an expansion club in Sarasota. Here's McGlynn, who was exceptional, bagged his first ever professional brace on Saturday. And of course, we spotlighted the absolute wonder goal he scored to put the game out of reach off the top.
I've seen him do that before at Hartford in particular, thumping them from 30 yards out when you think, oh, it's a long way out, and they scream into the top corner. So he is capable of doing that. It wasn't a lucky strike from Conor McGlynn. He's done that many times before.
27 years of age, still in his prime, and it's remarkable that a championship team hasn't come calling. Obviously has that pedigree. Armas. Evans. Scored it to Jonathan Jimenez, who scored his first goal in Westchester colors a week ago. Low cross from McGlynn, and the match's first corner.
And what I like about that cross from Conor McGlynn, he's put some power behind it. The quicker it comes in, the less time defenders have to adjust and pick up runners. And he's put the power in there, but unfortunately couldn't find another white shirt.
There's George Jokai, his first season at the helm of Westchester SC, and he's someone who's ever the romantic about football, speaks about a need for balance, but also intent on creating chances, as that corner is snuffed away at the near post, and we'll run it right back. Spoke to him, and he was obviously overjoyed with the performance. He's mentioned, though, his system is built on putting players in the best position for them to express themselves, rather than over-prescribing tactics. Another in-swinging corner. This one a little better. Evans can't find the second ball, though. Perhaps a way out now for Sarasota, since he dispossessed immediately.
Just needed a bit of help there, Sensi. Someone just shouting because his head was down. He had players chasing him. If you're on the Sarasota side, you've got to be verbally saying to him, I'm here, I'm inside, I'm available. In the end, he wins the throw-in, so he hasn't done bad. Just needed a bit more support there.
Just beyond the 10-minute mark, Sam Goldfarb, the former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey here in Mount Vernon, New York. Westchester SC and Sarasota Paradise meeting for the first time ever in USL League One play. And Westchester on the front foot, but certainly some bite on the break from Mika Olivares' men. Valentine, a long ball forward. Anderson Rosa picks it up. Can't find the ball wide to Sensi. Jimenez. Well done for Makic. Plenty of space for Guzen to run into, and run he does. Powder giving chase. Callum Stretch gets there first.
Sarasota doing well to get numbers behind the ball. Look at the numbers they have. They got them back very quickly, and once they closed that space down, then it became a little bit more difficult for Westchester to find that pass. I think the best way to get at Sarasota is when they attack and they do leave gaps. Then when you transition, that's your big chance, Westchester. That's when you're going to have space to play into.
You've seen Noah Powder occupy a lot of free space on that far side, ranging forward from fullback as he likes to do. Alexi Armas with the long throw in his locker. Run down by Timchenko, who has a pop and always rolling wide. Another first-year headman at the helm of a first-year professional club in Mika Ilavara. Someone who spent 5 years, actually 6, mind you, as the assistant at Richmond Kickers. He's one of the few coaches who remains in USL League One and has stayed there since the inaugural season. Former mentee of Darren Sawatsky's. There's Guzen for Westchester. We spoke to him. He's mentioned the emphasis on bringing in high-character players. Wants to build an ambitious expansion club. This isn't a side that's here to make up the numbers, and he feels that come July, when this side starts to gel, it will be a real force to be reckoned with. Now it's about getting some of these early season results over the line after falling short through the bulk of the first 4 matches.
And as you pointed out, just falling short as well, just by the odd goal here and there, a little bit of lack of understanding between the players perhaps, tactically still got to figure things out, but they have made good progress. It's just a tough league, though. There's going to be a lot of hard work ahead and a lot of games to be played before they'll be able to say they've had a good season. I think that's also part of the challenge for the players and the coaching staff is to get these games in 3 this week, one after the other, tired legs, rotation, all these things come into play.
And this is the first 3-game week of Sarasota's season. Keep in mind, through their first 3 weeks of the season, only played 2 matches because they had 2 weeks off between the Fort Wayne clash and the Portland clash in mid and late March, respectively. So this is a real test of the squad depth for the first time. Makic. Jennings. Looking to switch the point of attack. And McGlynn does well to get a boot in the mix. Here's Bobby Pierre, who's back in the 11 for the second time in the last 3 league matches. Armas. Jimenez.
Okay, look at the picture and see Sarasota numbers behind the ball. And they seem to be quite happy to defend in those numbers. I think maybe their thought is stop Westchester from scoring number 1 because they have been banging them in the back of the net.
Most goals in the league with 10 through their opening 4 league fixtures. That, of course, includes the club record 5 goals on Saturday. Jennings. Just no way through Sarasota at the moment. Very organized and disciplined, as you've mentioned. Timchenko. Just beyond the reach of Kyle Evans. Well, fans, the USL and the CBS Sports Network kicks off on April 18th with an Eastern Conference showdown. Charleston Battery takes on the fast start Tampa Bay Rowdies at 3 p.m. Eastern. Catch the action on the CBS Sports Network on April 18th. All part of the expanded platform of the USL Championship in League One. And we are happy to bring a part of that to you tonight, here wherever you may be joining us. Well, you see the emphasis on being compact defensively from Mika Ilavara. He mentioned his side only 4.2 XGA, and they've conceded 6 goals. So it is a side that perhaps has been a little unlucky out of possession to open the season, but also has been rather tight defensively through the early stages. Now it's just about turning that into actual chances taken on the opposite end of things.
Yeah, if you look at their last match, the loss to 1 Knoxville, they had double the XG, 2.11 to 1.02. So they created a lot more chances, but they ended up losing 2-1 through a poor defensive 5 minutes they had just after half time. So that's what they need to tighten up. It's just, you can't just play for a certain period. You've got to play right through the whole 90 minutes plus.
Here's a cross in, evades the reach of Makic. Concentration is one of the biggest things he emphasized. You said that 5-minute window, conceded in the 55th and the 59th after a promising start to the second half in which they actually had a chance to take the lead in that fixture. Ultimately, that was their undoing despite Johnny Bolaños pulling them back in the fixture inside the final 20 minutes. Miguel Ilavara has just talked about execution of key moments in the penalty boxes being what's prevented them from placing higher in the table through the opening 4 games.
At the moment you mentioned against 1 Knoxville, it was Jorgen Peterson, 10 minutes into their second half, who had a ball laid square to him, 16 yards up, maybe even less, and ballooned it over the bar when he had a great chance to bury it in the back of the net. And they went straight down the other end, 1 Knoxville, and scored 2 in 5 minutes. So yeah, to your point, how quickly that game turned.
Beautiful game can be a cruel one at times. Here's Pierre. Has settled on it in the early going for Westchester. Former 3-year standout at Real Monarchs in Next Pro. And he continues to roam forward here from center back. Pierre to the byline, a cross in. It falls for Jonathan Jimenez, who just strokes it wide. That a glaring chance to make it 1-0.
Well, we're just talking about chances being missed by Sarasota, but you're right, that was an excellent one for Westchester there. When it comes to Jimenez, I'm thinking you just got to get it on target and keep it down. Those are the two things going through your mind as a striker. And he's got time. He sets himself up. Maybe defender sliding in. Reed Valentine just puts him off. But for me, it's get over the ball so it stays below the crossbar and then on target. And instead, he just pulls it wide of that far post.
Jonathan Jimenez took the chance to make it 2-0 on the counterattack around that identical point of the match on Saturday against Corpus Christi. Scored in the 18th minute of that fixture. Can't make it 1-0 on 19 minutes here. But it is still a very strong start for Westchester. Jimenez. Gary, if you are Sarasota, how do you carve out chances the other direction or get some enjoyment on the ball here?
It's not easy. As I suggested, I think it's a case of just getting to sort of settle in to the conditions. As you said, it's cold. They're playing on turf, not grass. They're playing against a good side, etc., etc. And they've made 4 changes, well, mind you, as have Westchester, but just settle in and make sure you're tight. Don't give away chances like they did a moment ago to Jonathan Jimenez. And then slowly you can build into the game once you've figured out where the threats are coming from.
Here's Evans, just hunting an angle to shoot. Valentine just about put him off. See Westchester really starting to twist the screws here.
And that's fine. They're bending but not breaking, Sarasota. And that's what Coach Olivara would want. And you'll probably find that as they get to figure out who's quick, who's dangerous, who's good crosser. I mean, they'll know a lot of that stuff beforehand, but they've got to feel it on the pitch. Then they can start to say, okay, let's release one midfielder up. Let's try and get some balls over the top and stretch Westchester. But right now, I think their focus is just getting bodies behind the ball and defending. And nothing wrong with that as a strategy. If that's what's going to take you into the half-time, I think they'd be very happy at 0-0 Sarasota at half-time. And then they might say, you know what, second half, we might start to stretch them a little bit, take a few little small risks.
And it is, as we mentioned, first road match of the season, not to mention their only match outside the state of Florida until May 9th. So they play the bulk of their fixtures through the opening 2 months in their home state, either on their home patch or away at Tampa Bay or Naples. So this is a rare trip outside the state of Florida in the friendly confines there.
Aaron Walker there just fouling and straight away put his hand up and said to the referee, sorry, mistimed it. Here it is on Conor McGlynn. Mistimed it. Straight away he turns to the referee, apologizes. And sometimes if you have that approach, you can help you avoid the yellow card. Go and help the person on the ground, apologize to them as well. Get on with the game. That's being an experienced and clever professional.
35 years of age, has been in USL League One since the inaugural season, Aaron Walker. That's a veteran move. Westchester looks long here. Well, midway through this first half and still nothing to separate the two sides, although the best chances have gone the way of Westchester early on. Karani clears away. At the moment, they're just trying to get anyone in that front four involved for Sarasota. Armas clips it ahead. McGlynn giving chase. It's been an interesting approach for Westchester this season because you touched on it, partner, early on. Obviously for Westchester last year, in their inaugural season, made big splashes, brought in the likes of Johnny Bolaños, Juan Carlos Obregon, big names with experience in USL League One. And they thought that that would carry them to success, at least a playoff berth. But injuries, defensive woes really plagued them all season long and finished comfortably bottom of the USL League One table. Make major changes across the board, bring in George Jokai, who's constructed a roster that blends veteran experience with a lot of college graduates with ties to the Westchester area. And early on, you've seen some real signs of potential from this much younger, much fresher Westchester squad. It'll be interesting as the year goes on. how that relative inexperience manifests itself on the pitch. Here's Rodriguez, who loses out here. McGlynn looking forward. Jimenez a step or two late. Another corner for Westchester.
I think that's Reed Valentine having a look at that slide on turf. It's always a bit painful. And straight away after he slid there, he was grabbing that left leg of his and giving it a bit of a rub.
The continued adaptation in the new playing surface.
True.
By the way, it is just a long throw for Westchester. Went out on the touchline here. Hoofed in from Armas. Well, fans, the MLS is coming to Westchester County for the first time ever. Come support Westchester Soccer Club as they take on NYCFC right here at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon on Tuesday, April 14th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale now, starting at just $15. Be a part of history and cheer on the blue and gold. A round of 32 U.S. Open Cup fixture here in 6 nights' time. And George Jokai, as you've mentioned, has made some rotations to the squad to ensure everyone is fresh for that big one. But a free kick here beckoning, and Dean Guzen is not shy about having pops from this distance.
Tainio just coming in there and fouling. Just colliding. Nothing nasty about it, just slightly misjudged the moment.
See what Guzen can conjure here. There's plenty of options to aim at in the area. Arcing in with menace. It's not dealt with. A long range hit. Takes a deflection, and Jimenez has won a corner. And another set piece to deal with for Sarasota. That's been a common theme in this first half.
Well, set pieces are always dangerous, and it just takes one where you flick on at the near post or someone doesn't quite read it. Goalkeeper comes and misses it where you can jump on it, and that's obviously what Westchester are hoping, that this continued pressure will just give them the one big opportunity they're looking for.
Another corner kick presented by Ice Air, keeping Westchester cool and comfortable. Armas within swing, headed away. Maybe some space to operate the other direction for Sarasota. They hoof it long. And McGlynn and Timchenko there to clean up the wreckage.
This is nice for Sarasota. Normally when the balls come up, it's come straight back at them. Now there's a chance for them just to push some numbers up, get a throw in here and see if they can build an opportunity and get Andrew Hammersley involved in this match. He's been a little bit of a spectator so far.
It's a far cry from his last start when he had to make those 11 saves against Greenville.
11 saves on match. That's a busy day.
4 goals allowed in that defeat. Of course, 2 of those goals by no means his fault. They came off giveaways due to errors building from the back. And that's a bugaboo George Jokai's discussed trying to clamp down on these last few weeks.
Yeah, there were 2 very basic errors as well. And it's highly unlikely you'll get that again as far as Westchester are concerned. That was a one-off. Came back from 4-0 down to 4-2. You think if you don't make those 2 errors, it's a 2-2 draw away from home. It's a good point.
And on grass as well, which we mentioned Sarasota adapting to the turf. That was Westchester's first match on grass the entire season. Long throw potential here from the Paradise. Sensi. Jimenez escorting out of danger. And turning on the afterburners now. We've spoken about the rebuilt roster and approach. George Jokai has placed extensive emphasis on a 5-and-5 approach where emphasizes 5 behind the ball at all times as Karani strolls forward for Sarasota and loses out on the far side. He's mentioned balance is a key point this year. He's also brought in players with a track record of availability and an ability to run and cover ground. There is heavy emphasis on high work rate out of possession and minimize transition chances the other direction. That was a major struggle point for Westchester a season ago. Transition moments and set pieces, and he's hoped to address that with heightened athleticism and youth in the squad.
What you described is probably what every coach is trying to do. They're trying to get the balance. They're trying to stop goals against in transition. They're trying to control the ball better. It's just the ongoing battle you have, and the better players you have, the easier it becomes. But it's lovely to hear coaches talk that way, and the passion both these coaches, George Jakai and Mika Elevara, have shown when chatting to you and us. They're so excited about their players and their team. It's a wonderful energy, and I'm sure the players love working with these coaches.
They've also mentioned the importance of not just winning on the pitch, but development of players and advancing them to the next level.
Yeah, wasn't it Mika Elevara said to us that his aim is to make Sarasota Paradise famous for winning, which is always nice, and for developing players. I'm thinking, well, if you're going to be he said around the world, that was it, famous around the world. And I'm thinking, well, then you better produce one or two really great players if you're going to be noticed. And that's his aim. Again, wonderful enthusiasm and great hopes for his players.
He wants to build a brand that is globally recognizable, and it's not unheard of in USL League One. Portland Hearts of Pine has started a movement that's gone global.
I think Sarasota have those beautiful beaches. That could be a way of getting world interest focused on their team. Come and look at our beaches and our lovely water, and then we'll show you how the team's playing on the pitch.
It's certainly an attraction.
Well, when you live in England, it certainly is. There's nothing that we used to have in Manchester that was that interesting.
I was going to say Manchester is a little different climate-wise to Sarasota. Rosa's cross, it's not a bad one, but Powder can nod it back to Hammersley. There you go. The goalkeeper's involved in the match 32 minutes in.
Yeah, not a big involvement, but I'm sure he appreciates just being able to throw the ball out and feel that he's part of the game. But if you put it that way, it's been a good 30 minutes for Sarasota. They've soaked up the pressure, they've dealt with the problems. And I just wonder now if they're starting to begin to think, all right, now that we've done that, can we start to create the odd situation?
This is the first time they've been able to settle on it properly the entire night. Have certainly weathered that opening storm and only conceded one glaring chance of note. That was the Jimenez effort that was dragged wide. Look long here for Tainio. Guzen. He's been a lively presence once again. This time shrugged down by Rosa, who won it cleanly. Pinged wide to Karani. There are some signs of life, though, now the other direction.
No, they're slowly working their way into this game, Sarasota. And so far, I think Coach Mika Elevara must be very, very happy with the way they've managed the match.
Final 15 minutes of the first half. Do you feel that's an appropriate time to start to commit numbers forward?
I think their aim is still to come in at halftime 0-0, so I wouldn't throw too much forward if I was Sarasota. This team is dangerous as they come forward.
Jimenez's effort was deflected back to Sutton. It is a good point, maintaining structure, especially away from home. Just wonder if maybe they can snag one on a set piece before the break.
I think generally coaches are quite happy away from home against a team that's scoring as much as Westchester is. You get to the sort of 75th, 80th minute level, and then you can say, right, now we're prepared to take risks, because if we score, they haven't got much time to equalize. I don't think they'll want to do too much at this moment in time, Sarasota.
Jennings. Westchester continuing to apply pressure. That is a good point. Maintaining the scoreline and status quo probably best benefits Sarasota at this point.
What you find more and more in football, soccer these days is when teams drop into a low block, such as what Sarasota are doing now, it's very hard to find a way through. There's no gaps, and maybe there's a deflected shot, maybe there's a penalty if you dribble into the box, but generally speaking, when teams drop into a low block, even the best teams in the world find it very difficult to break them down. So right now, Sarasota are doing just that. They are frustrating Westchester.
We've had discussions about this trend in the past, especially in USL League One. Last season, there was a pretty statistical contrast between sides that opted to play more counterattacking styles and absorb pressure relative to those that tried to boss the ball. And those that played a more counterattacking style often had more success results-wise because, especially in this league, it's very transitional. And it's an interesting trend you see. More teams committing to absorbing pressure and picking their moments rather than asserting themselves for the bulk of the 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think if you are going to play that sort of soccer, that transition, the deep defending, you've got to have quick players up front so you can just knock a ball over the top and an attack, or players who can hold the ball up really well. Because the gaps come when you start the transition. If you take too much time, then the other team gets all their players back. There's no space. And if you want a good example, LAFC playing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup last night with Son and Buwanga and Martinez, they countered against Cruz Azul so well. I mean, it was just a master class, in, especially early on in the match, of defending, soaking up pressure, and then just catching them on the break. But you've got to have players who can do that up front, and certainly Son, Buwanga, and Martinez have that quality.
Well, we'll see if Sarasota has the quality for that over the remainder of these 90 minutes.
This man has pace. Karani.
Certainly does. He's got some quality as well. Karani. Tainio. To Westchester's credit, they're tracking back in very organized fashion. There's very little vulnerabilities on the break. This is one of the few times we've seen a Sarasota center back beyond midfield.
True. As I say, their confidence is beginning to grow. They've got to grips with their surroundings now.
Rosa. Tainio. He finished standout. Valentine. Rodriguez. Guzen has the ball for Westchester now. Just weaving a web of lies. Makic. Well, fans, don't miss your chance to be part of history when we host our first NMLS opponent next week at Memorial Field. Westchester hosts NYCFC on Tuesday, April 14th at 7:30. Don't miss your chance to see one of the most exciting matches of the year. That, of course, a reminder, the U.S. Open Cup round of 32, the first time Westchester Soccer Club has ever reached that point. Victories over New York Renegades and Vermont Green away from home in a performance that was very disciplined. George Jokai mentioning that they opted to play a more defense-oriented style and got the job done away from home on penalties.
Yeah, that an XG of only 0.27, so to your point, they really didn't offer much in attack. I think they'll have to do the same against NYCFC, you would think, in the Cup. Just soak up the pressure, try and catch them on the counter.
It's a massive opportunity for the club, which has never played or beaten an MLS opponent. They get their chance against one of the top teams in MLS at the moment in NYCFC. Here's Jimenez. Makic, wide for Powder, who has room to cross, plays an appetizing ball in. Perhaps too much hand fighting between Jennings and Karani for the referee's liking.
Jennings' hand was out there, whether it was in response to something Karani did, but I think you could see very clearly the push on Karani, who I think could feature in this match. As you mentioned, clever player with pace, doing a lot of defending at the moment.
He's done his defensive duties well.
But you want to get him in attack, don't you? That's where his real benefit to you as a team is. Got his gloves on there, obviously, to your point, coming from Sarasota. Not the warmest of weather. What is it, sort of late 30s Fahrenheit?
Right now, high 30s. It
high
was
30s.
Probably low 40s at kickoff. I don't think the 1 to 2 degrees will make much difference for the Sarasota players. Powder under pressure here, and he gives it away. Timchenko there to clean up the mess. It's moments like that, though, when the Paradise could strike.
Yeah, lucky there, Powder. Lucky they couldn't use that better, couldn't find another player. And that's, as you say, that's the moments where you can't afford to make mistakes at the back. Do that against NYCFC and they could really punish you.
Rodriguez there to recycle for Sarasota. Another cross in, Timchenko away. Rosa, former Rapids 2 standout. And now Karani is the brightest bulb for Sarasota so far. Rodriguez looking to switch the play, but too much on it. Well, fans, Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Final 5 minutes of this first half between Westchester SC and Sarasota Paradise. Sam Goldfarb, the former Manchester United goalkeeper, Gary Bailey bringing you all of the action as Sarasota wins this backup field. And a real chance to make something happen here. Sensi and company can't create anything of note.
Good turnover ball, though. It's the first time, I think, in this match, or one of the first times they've had 4 or 5 players pressing Westchester, and they get the turnover ball. The shot blocked in the end. But I think they're coming into this halftime looking really good, Sarasota.
This 5-10 minute window has certainly been promising.
It has, but there's a long way to go. Just because they're getting into the match a little bit doesn't mean to say that they can still cope with this Westchester attack.
Here's Jimenez, who is certainly dangerous. Armas, someone George Jokai has been coaching since his childhood at FC Westchester. Goes back a long period with his father, who was the former head coach of Colorado Rapids. I can only imagine what those conversations are like between coaches. Makic slips in Guzen, who has a pop, and he draws Sutton into action.
That's not a bad effort there from Guzen. You would expect the goalkeeper to make the save, but they were just struggling to find a bit of space. Neat, intricate, and eventually I think he just decides, you know what, let me have a dip from here. Maybe I'll catch the goalkeeper sleeping, but Alex Sutton was ready and waiting for that. Doesn't quite catch it cleanly, does it? It bounces a couple of times just to take the pace off the ball.
Has been remarkable to watch the confidence of Dean Guzen blossom over the course of the last year or so. Last season, grappled with some on and off injuries and also bounced in and out of the 11. George Jokai's made him a mainstay in the squad, and whenever Guzen is featured, he's impressed. Scored a lovely team goal to cap off that 5-1 victory on Saturday.
Well, wasn't it the little 1-2 with Timchenko? Absolutely top class.
Product of the Ajax and Feyenoord academies.
I'm surprised they would allow you in the one if you've been to the other. Those two are big rivals.
I was just about to say
Holland.
the same thing. It's like United and City Academy.
Yeah, you go to one, you don't get invited to the other. But quality. I mean, if you're anywhere in the Netherlands, at the likes of Ajax, PSV, Feyenoord, even some of the smaller clubs, 20 Enschede, any of those, I mean, they play some lovely football, the Dutch, and it's total football. You get to play in all the different positions, except goalkeeper, and you become a real total footballer, something they've believed in since back in Johan Cruyff's time back in the 70s.
On the subject of total football and Johan Cruyff, on the opposite end of things, Mikael Avara has mentioned that that's a big influence in his coaching style. He wants to play total football. Theo de Jong was one of his managers when he was playing back in the day, and of course he played with Johan Cruyff in the 1974 World Cup final. So there is some influence on both sides of the coin here in this matchup. Closing stages of this first half, and still awaiting a major chance for the visitors.
A little bit of a clash here, nothing nasty. Just already got a bandaged leg, has Max Tanio. So he's probably already got an injury and felt that straight away.
His first start of the season as well.
Interesting what the coaches might be thinking to say to their players. Certainly for Mika Alavara, he's got to be happy with the way they've defended. They've got numbers behind the ball. They've been in that low block. And they've played their way forward at times and just started to ask some questions of the Westchester defense. But they'll need to do more, you would think, in the second half. But so far, so good. For Westchester, well, they've tried. They've huffed and they've puffed. You can't say they haven't created little half chances around the box, but no really big chances except the one for Jonathan Jimenez. So they'll need to do more in attack in the second half.
Karani for Sarasota. Dips his shoulder to the byline. Still carving out space. Loses his footing in the area. Walker runs it down for the Paradise. Rosa. O'Dwyer. A rare touch of it for him thus far. Tinio. Will be interesting to see how many minutes are added on here. It's been a pretty free-flowing half. Here's Rosa for Sarasota. Cuts it across towards Karani, who's shoved down in the area. Rodrigo Albuquerque's unmoved. And Makic wins a free kick the other way.
Well, I think there's some question marks about that in the box there. You have a look at Karani. He does get a bit of a shove. Is it enough to give a penalty? Certainly was worth asking the question of referee Rodrigo Albuquerque. Have a look when it comes in. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Just shoulders coming together.
Not a ton in that. Halftime whistle sounds. There's no time added on. And at intermission, no score between Westchester and Sarasota. You've seen positive moments from Westchester, but Sarasota, some signs of life towards the end of the first.
Yeah, Sarasota defended well, came into it last 10-15 minutes, started creating a few small chances. Westchester been really good on the front foot, but need to be more incisive. Maybe speed up the transition when there are gaps in that Sarasota defense. Get the ball forward a little bit more quickly.
0-0 at halftime between Westchester and Sarasota in the first ever meeting between these two sides. Nothing to separate them. We'll take a quick breather here from Westchester County. When we return, a look around USL League One. Stick with us. The magic of the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup returns to Soccer County tonight.
Saved by Molina, Westchester prevails.
It is a flying start for Westchester. And it's all signed, sealed, and delivered.
Eligible for Medicare? Here's a great new reason to be happy. You may qualify for money-saving programs that could lower your Medicare costs. Just talk to a Health First specialist about programs like Extra Help, Epic, and more. To learn how New Yorkers like you can save, call 1-844-434-6399. Health First Medicare Advantage Plans, where healthy starts.
Come on, get happy.
Raising health means elevating the care that we can get in our backyard. The Westchester Soccer Club is part of the United Soccer League that has now expanded into Westchester.
It's a brand new USL One team competing all across the country, bringing the love for the sport of soccer to the area.
Northwell is going to provide them the best care possible, going to the games, making sure that we're on site for each home game. If an injury pops up, we get those players in immediately.
The partnership between the Westchester Soccer Club and Northwell Health is very exciting.
Northwell's vision is to raise health, so we offer the full gamut of orthopedic services, serving the community in Westchester. That's where my family lives, that's where I live, and that's my purpose here.
We want you back to Westchester County, where at halftime there is no score between Westchester SC and Sarasota Paradise. Well, at halftime it gives us a chance to take a look around USL League One. Let's check out our USL League One halftime update.
In is halftime in USL League One. We hope you're enjoying your match so far. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with a look at some of the headlines this week. Boise welcomed pro soccer in grand fashion in Week 5 with a League One regular season attendance record. 7,211 fans watched AC Boise draw 1-1 with new rival Spokane Velocity, an inaugural home match that will be remembered forever. Westchester SC's 5-goal outburst in Week 5 was the most goals in franchise history for a single match. It was also a memorable night for midfielder Connor McGlenn, who scored a pair of goals, giving him 4 now through 3 games. McGlenn scored 4 goals the entire season in 2025. Our first League One Coach of the Month is forward Madison's Matt Glazer, who guided the Mingos through the month of March with 2 big victories, the club's first ever 2-0 start. Madison knocked off defending champ 1 Knoxville on the road, then handed FC Naples its first loss of the season. National broadcasts coming up in the USL Championship. Charleston Battery hosting Tampa Bay Rowdies next Saturday, and USL Cup El Clamico, Rhode Island and Hartford on the 25th. Both matches are on CBS Sports Network. We're getting closer to the second half. This is the USL Halftime Update. Let's get you back out to your match. With the field for World Cup 2026 now set, the USL can enjoy its place in the countdown to history. Never before has an active USL player taken part in a World Cup, until now. For the past 2.5 years, more than 30 players from USL Championship and League One battled through World Cup qualifying. This summer, 6 of them have a chance to hit the field for their respective country. Miami FC teammates Eloy Rom and Jurgen Lacadia made history, helping Curacao qualify for the World Cup for the first time ever. Curacao will face Germany, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador in group play. And for the first time since 1974, Haiti will take part in the World Cup, following a very unique road through qualifying. 4 championship players, Duke Lacroix and Garvin Matusala of Colorado Springs, Delence Pierre from FC Tulsa, and Carl Sente from New Mexico United, led Haiti through qualifying without playing a home match. Now the Haitian team faces a tough group at the World Cup with matches against Brazil, Morocco, and Scotland. But while World Cup qualifying owned the spotlight in late March, several USL players took part on U.S. youth national teams, also on the world stage. Colton Swan of Charleston Battery scored a goal for the U.S. Under-20 team against Argentina in Argentina. Orange County SC's Tyson Espy played for the Under-17 team in Paraguay. And the U.S. Under-18 team played in Portugal, featuring Ramiz Hamuda from Birmingham Legion, Brandon Days of Louisville City, and Jameer Johnson from Orange County SC.
The header is down. It's in. Charleston takes the lead and stops. Nice ball sent in. Doubles the Rowdies lead.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
This spring, stay 3 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card.
U.S. Open Cup returns to Soccer County tonight.
Saved by Molina, Westchester prevails.
It is a flying start for Westchester. And it's all signed, sealed, and delivered. Welcome back to Westchester County, where at halftime there is no score in this League One clash between Westchester SC and Sarasota Paradise. Well, we are at the start of the match week in USL League One. Last night we opened proceedings in Week 6, and what a thriller it was between Spokane Velocity and AV Alta. The rapid start last night for AV Alta. Osvaldo Ley getting on the score sheet inside the opening 10 minutes with an acrobatic finish against the grain to power AV Alta in front. But then just before halftime, Spokane would find the leveler. Andrew Booth finishing off a mad dash around the goal mouth to pull Spokane level. And then in the second half, Velocity took over. Siobhan John Brown continuing his red-hot start to the season on the counterattack, just slotting this beyond the goalkeeper Denzel Smith. And then at the death, with the visitors pushing on, it's cleared off the goal line, and Neil Vignoles on the counterattack, just poking it beyond Smith to power Velocity 3-1 in front. They were the victors last night to begin the match week. And then you look at the upcoming weekend schedule in USL League One, a bevy of key standout fixtures. FC Naples hosting Sarasota Paradise in a Florida West Coast clash. That a Florida derby. And then as you head later on in the match week, AV Alta on Saturday hosting AC Boise in what should be one of the more fun fixtures on the West Coast. We'll take another quick breather here from Westchester County, where at halftime we're still waiting for the breakthrough in this first ever meeting between Westchester and Sarasota. Stick with us, though. When we come back, a look back at the first half here from Mount Vernon. Stick with us.
Raising health means elevating the care that we can get in our backyard. The Westchester Soccer Club is part of the United Soccer League that has now expanded into Westchester.
It's a brand new USL One team competing all across the country, bringing the love for the sport of soccer to the area.
Northwell is going to provide them the best care possible, going to the games, making sure that we're on site for each home game. If an injury pops up, we get those players in immediately.
The partnership between the Westchester Soccer Club and Northwell Health is very exciting.
Northwell's vision is to raise health, so we offer the full gamut of orthopedic services, serving the community in Westchester. That's where my family lives, that's where I live, and that's my purpose here.
300. That's about how many events the Community Police Relations Foundation has done in just the last year.
Tens of thousands of positive interactions between law enforcement and the communities they serve. Behind every one of them was a handshake, not a handcuff. Understanding instead of fear.
We all know the narrative we usually see. Negative interactions dominate the conversation.
Because the truth is, the good doesn't always trend, but it's just as real. At one of our youth events, I asked a group of kids a simple question. When a police car rolls by, what's the first thing you think or do? One young boy raised his hand and yelled, "Run away."
But after spending time with our officers, his answer changed. That's how you know this impact is real.
Every family fed, every young athlete mentored, it's changing how communities see the uniform every single day. Together, we can redefine the story and turn 300 moments of connection into tomorrow's 3,000.
Back here in Westchester, we're at halftime. No score between Westchester SC and Sarasota Paradise. Gives us a chance to look back at our first half. And Gary, many half chances, but few glaring opportunities.
Alex Sutton to make the save, but I think he was getting frustrated. They just couldn't get past that very dogged Sarasota defense.
You look at the halftime stats, they certainly favor Westchester. Not a single shot on target for Sarasota, but yet the scoreline still reads 0-0.
If you look at the XGs, 0.54 for Westchester, so it's half a goal they're due. 0.01 for Sarasota, which basically says they haven't had an attack the entire game. 10 crosses to 3 for Westchester, so it has been their half, but the only score, the only stat that really counts is 0-0 set up for Sarasota to maybe have a more attacking second half.
And you saw signs of life for Sarasota in the final 10 minutes of that first half. So you wonder how the tide will shift over the course of the remaining 45. We wait Rodrigo Albuquerque's signal to get everything back underway, and that we are. Westchester and Sarasota, one of these sides looking to come away with 3 points. Sam Goldfarb, the former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey on hand to take you through the remainder of this one, and we touched on it briefly earlier on. It was a strong first half for Westchester, but you mentioned the dogged defending from Sarasota, minimizing the chance quality. As you already see, this is latched onto by Sensi, maybe something brewing for Paradise. Westchester recovering well, though. Sarasota does win their first corner of the match, though.
He does well to win it because he wasn't getting much support. I was waiting for players to get around him, and nobody seemed up to the task. In the end, the fact that he got himself a corner out of that is really well played.
Farmington, Connecticut native. Spent 4 years at UMass before signing his first pro contract.
Somewhere near where you grew up?
Exact hometown.
Thought that might have been why you got a mention.
In swinging corner. Knocked back to Tinio. This has plenty of dip and just headed over, but a foul in the process. He's probably more adjusted to the climate.
Look at this ball coming in. Declan Waters does really well to get on the end of this. Not so sure there is a foul there, hard to see, but it's a good start from Sarasota, and we thought that maybe they would come out second half and be a little bit more positive. Certainly seems that way.
Since he's dispossessed, and yet to your point, Sarasota coming out with much more aggression than they flashed in the opening 45. Callum Stretch throws this forward. Dwyer shoved over by Pierre.
You didn't mention Dwyer's name much in the first half, and I just get the sense that if he doesn't do something, there are going to be some changes, and he might be the one to go off. Garrett McLaughlin's available. They've got Bolaños, of course, the former Westchester player. I'd love to see him come on and try and show his old team up. Ethan Bryant. So got some nice options on the bench, Sarasota, and just think the coach will give Chandler O'Dwyer 10-15 minutes, but if he doesn't do much in that time, then he might get pulled off.
That's an advanced ball from Sutton, who's starting to get confident with his feet. Jennings was fouled. Well, fans, 2026 Westchester Soccer Club's U.S. Open Cup journey continues on Tuesday, April 14th, right here at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon against MLS side NYCFC. Tickets are on sale now. A banner night for Westchester in 6 evenings' time. That's the next fixture on the docket here for the Golden Apple. Small matter of trying to get 3 points in this fixture still on the cards, though. To your point about the reinforcements Sarasota has on their bench, McLaughlin is top 3 in league history in goals. Bolaños set the single-season assist record, 4 assists under Mika Elevara's tutelage with Richmond in 2022. So there are proven talents that have been starting regularly that have fresher legs than had they started this fixture.
And it's always nice when you play game after game that one day you go to the bench and you can come on as a sub. Just come on and get a little 30-minute cameo, and players enjoy that. Whereas if you play 90 game after game after game, you can get a little bit tired mentally. This way it freshens things up.
Here's Powder. Flashing cross, it's plenty dangerous. It's not dealt with convincingly at all. But it has just gone out for a goal kick.
Alex Sutton doing well, a dive on that, because when it gets knocked back from the defender, it wasn't knocked back with any pace. It was just waiting for an attacker to toe poke that over the line.
It was caught in that awkward no man's land as well. Sensi launches this ahead. Can't quite switch the play though. Jennings read it well. And now he bombs forward the other way. Jimenez. Guzen. Now normalcy starts to resume. Jennings. Looking for Evans, who was a lively figure in the first 20. Wins a set piece. Fan soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats.
Kyle Evans doing well there just to win the free kick. They've struggled to break down the Sarasota defense, so maybe set pieces, bomb them in the box, see if you can get it knocked out. Maybe this is how they could break down Sarasota Paradise.
Dean Guzen has flash potential on these deliveries throughout the night. He's the only man in the vicinity right now. Floats it in to the quarter of uncertainty, headed away. Back out for Guzen. Strong half from Bobby Pierre. He's bounced in and out of the lineup to open this season, and it's no secret that last season a bit up and down for him, but in that opening half, secure at the back, creating chances himself as well. As Guzen latches onto this, carves out some space and hits the woodwork. That the biggest chance to date for Westchester.
That's a great effort from Guzen. He has been really creating opportunities with his skill around this box all match and hasn't been able to find a way through. That was so close. Good left foot strike.
It's actually Evans instead of Guzen who had the hit.
Sorry, Evans, and he hits it really well with his left foot. Rolls it over, and it's so clever the way he rolls it over with his right foot, then hits it with his left. So Evans with that shot, Guzen with the previous shots. They've had their opportunities, haven't they, Westchester?
Certainly have. Guzen's gotten into so many dangerous areas that it seemingly had to be him, but that time Evans carving out the chance. Powder. And here is Evans again. He's a player that George Jokai has repeatedly said he's shocked he's been able to bring in at this level of the footballing pyramid. Says he's destined for the higher ranks of the USL and beyond. Jimenez dropping the shoulder for Westchester. Across into Guzen, and he opens the scoring for the Golden Apple. A third of the season for Dean Guzen, and his red-hot start to 2026 continues.
And that was all made by Jimenez down that right-hand side. He wins that 50-50 battle. Not the best defending from Sarasota. They can't allow this to happen as a defender. If you don't win this, you've got to stop that player from going by. There's where the tackle is lost, Anderson Rosa, and then he's away, Jimenez. Lovely ball in, and absolutely sets it on a plate for Dean Guzen, who's made the right run at the right time. But give Jimenez credit for the setup, the run, the winning of the ball, and that pass there that sets up this opening goal.
Dean Guzen, his third goal in the last 4 league matches, in scorching hot form, and he finally powers Westchester in front.
Well, the game needed a goal, didn't it? It's had little half chances here and there, mostly for Westchester, but this might force Sarasota to come out and play a little bit more attacking style. They've defended really well until that moment, but now that they've been broken, perhaps that's a sign for them to see if they can do something up front. And once again, I think there'll be a few minutes allowed for those who are playing in attack before Coach Mika Elovara will start to make some changes.
Now Sutton under pressure. Westchester with the wind in their sails. Well, Dean Guzen on 53 minutes, breaking the deadlock. You said it yourself, the game needed a goal, and now the game has a goal, and we will see how that adjusts Sarasota's approach, a side that has defended so stoutly throughout the opening 50 minutes and change but now forced to press the issue to get anything away from home. They launch this forward appetizingly. Here's Sensi. Darts beyond Powder and sticks with it. Sensi has a pop, and he didn't miss by much.
That's a good run and a good shot from Sensi. And he does so well just to keep himself in front of the defender. You can see here Noah Powder's chasing him. They just gets his body in front, and Powder has to leave him alone. And then he has space. There's nobody else to close him down. He's not far away with that effort. That's much better from Sarasota.
Starting to show real potential going forward. Westchester has been on the front foot, but it's starting to become a two-way affair, so to speak. Now, for those just joining us, Westchester opening the scoring through Dean Guzen on 53 minutes. A well-worked team move that was set up by Jonathan Jimenez, a winger and a winger connection. And after 50-plus minutes of huffing and puffing, Westchester's finally broken through. A team that has scored in every league match to date. Sarasota the other direction. Sensi again. He has the step on Powder, cuts it back brilliantly, and it's saved by Hammersley. Karani denied from point-blank range.
Wow, that is a good save from Hammersley. That has come at him with pace. This is a beautiful move down the right-hand side here. Sensi does so well. Picks out his man with this fantastic cutback. It's hit by Karani. It's not that the goalkeeper stops it. He actually holds on to it. That is great reflexes.
Well, now Evans goes down for Westchester, and this game has reached a fever pitch in a blink. Well, Gary, this is a Westchester side that's high octane in the final third, and you see those numbers now. Westchester alone atop the league in terms of goals scored.
They have, but you've got to add they've conceded 9. If they conceded 2 or 3, you'd be going, wow, but they've conceded 9. So for them here today, can they keep a clean sheet? Can they be defensively astute, not get caught in transition? There was a moment there, literally a minute ago, where the goalkeepers had to come up with a great save there, Hammersley. So that, you know, being defensively tight is important now for Westchester.
Jimenez. Evans tracking it down. Looks no worse for wear. Gave it away that time. And again, more vulnerability potentially on the break for Westchester. Karani has been the most threatening player for Sarasota to date. Sensi. O'Dwyer. A rare touch for him thus far. You mentioned the defensive woes. Westchester has not kept a clean sheet in league play all season. Guzen, the other direction, a 2v3 break for Westchester. And Guzen keeping it himself. Now waiting for reinforcements. McGlynn gets the return ball from Guzen. Guzen again, demanding the ball at every turn, and rightfully so. Pierre.
Knocking it around here and just tempting the Sarasota players to come out and in numbers, because when they do, it leaves gaps for which they can play through. Maybe that's what Pierre's looking to do now, try and play it through the top, and he does.
You read it like a book, partner. Only issue is Erman Makic didn't receive enough weight on that pass. Well, there is the difference maker. Dean Guzen, 27-year-old native of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. We joked about his divided loyalties in terms of Dutch sides featured for Ajax and Feyenoord in the youth ranks, but the quality on full display, and that goal rather routine after Jimenez created it. Armas, a long throw. Run down by Timchenko, who's received constant praise from George Jokai for his physicality at the back. Jimenez. Powder. Armas. Ticking towards the hour mark. 1-0 to Westchester. It is a deserved lead, but continuing to push on in search of what could be the dagger. Jimenez. Forward for Evans. It's a clever touch. Just lost the foot race with Valentine. First yellow card shown to Connor McGlynn. It appears it might actually be Max Jennings who was booked. So pardon me. Connor McGlynn is not walking the tightrope for now.
Max Jennings is, and he's got to be careful of his next tackle from now on until the end of the match.
There's another tackle.
Ooh. What?
And it's a
There you
second.
go.
Just like that, in a blink, a red card shown to Westchester. And well, this is interesting because Jennings was the man who received the yellow card moments ago. It's a question of who committed this transgression, Gary.
Well, we were just saying, don't get a second yellow. That's the whole point of the first yellow, is you cannot afford to make a lunge. Although, is that a yellow? I mean, give a free kick, yes, but I don't think that's a yellow. There's an arm on the shoulder there, but no. A touch on the shoulder. Certainly feel you can give a free kick. Oh, it's very harsh to give a yellow for that, especially having just given him a yellow. But it's always the same story. Once you get the first yellow, you have to be super careful.
Received his first yellow card 30 seconds before being sent off with a second. And Max Jennings sent for an early shower. This equation just got much more difficult for Westchester.
And give Sarasota Paradise hope that they can now, with the extra player, perhaps put some pressure on the home side.
You can debate the validity of that as a second yellow card all you'd like, but if you're Westchester, you have made this much more difficult on yourself than it needs to be. Max Jennings sent off on 61 minutes.
Yellow card to number 2, Alexis Jennings for Westchester in the 60th minute. In the 61st minute.
And we were hearing word that Westchester was readying a triple change. Jennings was not one of the players they intended to replace. But you do wonder how that alters George Jokai's plans. They have the small matter of a free kick to weather first. Clipped in towards O'Dwyer. Doesn't quite fall for Sensi, and that is a late challenge on the other side of things on Guzen. It's all kicking off now, Gary.
It is a bit. Well, it tends to. Once there's a goal in the match. Let's have a look here. Who gets who first? Well, there's claims. Chandler O'Dwyer is saying that maybe he got kicked, and it should be a pen, but hard to figure it all out.
Two changes now for Sarasota Paradise. Garrett McLaughlin and Johnny Bolaños both entering, as Tainio is the first to exit for the Paradise, and Sean Karani, who is one of the brighter presences, also off. So very interesting. Both O'Dwyer and McLaughlin in. You get the sense that maybe O'Dwyer drops into a 10. And one of the all-time leading goal scorers in USL League One, Garrett McLaughlin, introducing himself with just under 30 to play. Valentine. Bolaños against his former club Westchester, where he was a regular starter a season ago. Switch of the play now to Sensi.
two things have happened. It's the goal for Westchester has sort of forced Paradise to come out and chase them. And then, of course, the red card. And now it's all Sarasota on the ball.
Rosa crossing it in towards O'Dwyer. And Hammersley keeps it in play. Well, Gary, if you are Westchester, how does this alter your approach? Of course, dominating the match at home, creating chance after chance, but now down a man, and you probably don't want to stretch yourself too thin.
You don't, which is why they're going to have to defend in numbers. And I would assume they're going to start bringing on some fresh legs, because when you're down a man, you've got extra running to do, extra closing down. But they're still in a good position. They're 1-0 up at home, and they have looked fairly dominant throughout this match. No reason why they should over-defend, if you know what I mean. They just have to defend as much as they need to and still look to counter and get that second goal.
Evans looking to press the issue, and he bypasses Rosa. Evans into the area now, drives it goalward. It's loose and tapped home. It is Dean Guzen again, and Westchester doubles the lead. He is in scorching hot form.
Well, you've got to give Kyle Evans credit on that right-hand side. He was absolutely brilliant. Wonderful pace to get past the defender, but then to keep going. Have a look. He's only got defenders around him. He's passed one. Now he passes a second. He still goes accelerating into the box, keeps his balance, gets a good shot, which, to be fair, Alex Sutton makes a fairly good save, but he can't hold on to it because of the power of that shot, and it just drops it straight for Guzen to tap it over the line. But Kyle Evans, absolutely brilliant down that right-hand side.
You are starting to see why George Jokai rates the 20-year-old Kyle Evans as highly as he does. Completely manufactured that goal. And Dean Guzen, the beneficiary, vacates after doubling his goal tally for the season in about 12 minutes. It's Charlie Dickerson on for Dean Guzen. That is the first change. Meanwhile, Jonathan Jimenez vacates for Samori Powder, that like for like on the opposite flank. And then the final change up top, Erman Makic out for Daniel Burko, who's been the regular up top all season long for Westchester. And how about that change of things? The second yellow card, Sarasota pushing on, and then on the break, Kyle Evans manufactures something out of nothing.
And I think that best describes it. He made something out of nothing. He had 3 or 4 defenders around him. Absolutely brilliant, a turn of pace. And then the shot was a really good one, which forced Alex Sutton to make a save where he couldn't hold on to the ball.
Daniel Burko is down briefly. That's his first involvement. The exact phrasing from George Jokai about Kyle Evans in the preseason was he has stardust sprinkled all over him. The stardust is starting to take full effect these last few matches. An assist on Saturday, and he won't get credited with an assist there, but it is effectively one. 2-0 to Westchester. Dean Guzen at the double. And now they look for more carnage, but it is Sutton quickly off his line. Last season, there were so many conversations surrounding Westchester. They would take leads. They dropped the league record 38 points from winning positions in league play a year ago. And a big part of that was struggling to take chances when 1-0 up, and also dealing with inopportune sendings off in the second half that ultimately led to the reversal of fortunes and fixtures. Tonight, it's been the inverse. They went down a man at an inopportune time, and they took their chance. This is a cross in. It's not fully dealt with. Rodriguez onto it for Sarasota, just parried wide by Hammersley.
Hammersley looked to be struggling there to get a hand on that. Maybe there's still life in Sarasota. If they get one back, then it really is game on. And they've made some changes that could impact this game. Good defending, but just leaves it on the edge of the box. And that shot, well, it's not a clean hand, but it gets it around the post. Someone goes under his hands, but he gets it around the post.
Whip towards the back post, and Burko away. And if Westchester can conjure a third on the break, that would all but seal it, despite being a man down. Runs into the thicket of defenders, but is fouled by Sensi. And the yellow card is out. Well, if that is Sensi, that's the first man in the book for Sarasota.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a grab. In fact, there's a solid grab first.
Appears that may have actually been Andres Rodriguez who was the caution party, but Callum Stretch is booked. Stretch the first in the book for Sarasota. Rodriguez was in the vicinity, as was Sensi, but Stretch the man who ultimately tugged Burko's jersey. Final 20 minutes back in now. Westchester 2-0 to the good. Dean Guzen on either side of an inopportune second yellow card shown to Max Jennings. Sarasota is readying one further change. Ethan Bryant, the former Young Player of the Year in USL League One 4 years ago with Richmond Kickers, is the next character set to be introduced. McGlynn. Powder. McGlynn has options in front of him as well, but takes the space. Samori Powder. Noah Powder, his brother. And this is Evans, who has been unstoppable for large spells. Dwyer hoping to play out, and there is room to break. Sensi ran out of real estate.
It's a great position here for Westchester, with the exception of them being a man down, but certainly in terms of the scoreline, you're 2-0 up, less than 20 minutes left. You can slow things down, which they seem to be doing. You control possession. You force Sarasota to have to come out and try and get the ball off you, which leaves gaps. That 2-0 just gives you that extra bit of breathing space. When you're 1 goal up, it's still tenuous, but 2 goals just generally means you can back off and do what they're doing now, knock it around, force players to come out of position to close them down.
Here's Dickerson, his first touch of the night. Finds Samori Powder, who was dispossessed instantly. Bolaños. You mentioned him wanting to make an impression against his former club. Seen him take some dangerous spaces on the far side. Sensi. Wins the foot race with Armas. A clip to the back post. Hammersley a touch and then covers it up. Huge chance for what appears to be McLaughlin, and Sarasota kept off the board.
Wow, what a good chance. Lovely ball gets whipped in as well here from Sensei. Have a look here, and the header comes in. He's got time. The goalkeeper almost seems to miss it. Hammersley goes through his hands, but he just about recovers.
He got it done in sloppy fashion, but he got it done. Sarasota's lifeline revoked. Waters. Westchester throwing numbers behind the ball now. McLaughlin brought down just inside the area, and the referee waves play on.
Well, if you're neutral watching this, you're wanting Sarasota to score, because then you know it's going to be a grandstand finish here. They're piling on the pressure now, but if it got to 2-1, then it would be so exciting and so full of possibilities.
It does feel like this match has another goal in it, one way or another.
And it could come on the counter if they throw too many forward, Sarasota, but you do get the sense that it's most likely that they will get one back if they can break down this Westchester defense.
Bolaños loses it out of play. Fans, the MLS is coming to Westchester County for the first time ever. Come support Westchester Soccer Club as they take on NYCFC right here at Memorial Field in Mount Vernon on Tuesday, April 14th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale now and starting at just $15. Be a part of history and cheer on the blue and gold. Ethan Bryant is the first to enter here for Sarasota, and in addition to that, Jordan Bender, the former Orlando City Academy standout, is joining the fray as well. Anderson Rosa, the first to exit, and Matt Sensi, who enjoyed an up and down spell through 75 minutes, vacates. So Bender in on the flanks, and then Bryant also in as well Sarasota throwing caution to the wind at this point.
Which they have to do. 15 minutes left, two goals down. You may as well go for it. If you end up losing 3-0, doesn't make any difference, 2-0, 3-0. But get one back, then you're going to get a cliffhanger of a finish.
Stretch is hoping to do just that. And here is Bryant, who was Young Player of the Year with Richmond Kickers in 2022, under the tutelage of Mika Elavara, who was Darren Sawatsky's top assistant at the time. That was a Player Shield winning campaign. McLaughlin lays it off well to Rodriguez, who ushers it along to Bolaños. O'Dwyer in a deeper position than the center forward section he began the night at. The whistle sounds against Sarasota.
This is the job of Westchester, who have conceded a lot of goals, 9 in the previous 4 games. Their job is just to see this out. 15 minutes defending, getting behind the ball, shutting down every opportunity that Sarasota try and create. If you do that, then I've no doubt Coach George Jacob will be very, very impressed with his team.
Burko sprinting the other way. Ran into a sea of black shirts. It is a big test of Westchester's mettle. We mentioned a year ago the unflattering points drop from winning position stat. This season, they've shown more potential to kill matches off, which is a quality they lacked. But you've said it yourself. This is not a team renowned for its ironclad defense. Have not kept a league clean sheet all year. The only clean sheet came in that Vermont Green shootout victory through 120 minutes in the second round of the Open Cup. Bryant. Sarasota streaming forward now. Bender. Bryant again. Someone who's played 9 professional seasons at just 24 years of age. Samori Powder. Looking for the long ball towards Daniel Burko, who does get there, and he is onside as well. Burko beyond Waters. Stretch recovers well and ushers it out for a goal kick.
That's a good counter-attack there by Westchester. Long ball coming from Powder to Daniel Burko. He's threatening down that left-hand side and forces Sarasota to have to get numbers back. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to just defend for the last 15 minutes. You want to also counter-attack occasionally, just force the opposition to have to send numbers to defend.
Bryant. Splits the defenders. Pierre recovering well. Maybe more chances to counter. Burko fouled by Waters.
So no rush to take this free kick. That's exactly what Burko was wanting. Waters has given him that. Gives him chance to complain to the referee. That's a couple of seconds off the clock. Get up. Everyone moves nice and slowly, as you do when you're leading. Frustrating when you're the team chasing, but what free kicks that would have been taken so quickly, now they take their time, and it's the way it works.
Gamesmanship at its finest.
So it's up to referee to move it along any quicker if he feels there's been too much time wasted.
Were you an expert in the dark arts back in the day?
I think it's more that the outfield players that do it as goalkeepers. There's a limit to it. But yeah, you have to. Yeah, everybody has to play their part in slowing the game down if you're winning and speeding the game up if you're losing.
Sarasota looking to do the latter. Timchenko was there to break it up. Samori Powder. Evans. Here's Walker. Appearance number 171 in USL League One for the former Greenville Triumph men, who won a league title in 2020. Bolaños. Swerving inside. Stretch. Finds Bolaños on the return ball. And he wins a corner for Sarasota.
And that's what you need from Bolaños, that ability to play it, get it back. He's a spark in this team.
Taken short here to Walker. Comes out to Bryant. Curling cross towards the back post. Falls to the edge of the area. Half volley sails wide. The USL and the CBS Sports Network kicks off April 18th with an Eastern Conference showdown. Charleston Battery takes on Tampa Bay Rowdies at 3 p.m. Eastern. Catch the action on the CBS Sports Network on April 18th.
Yeah, Tampa Bay having won every one of their games. Charleston Battery ended Lou City's incredible run at home at Lynn Family Stadium, so that should be a great match.
How about the job Dom Casciato's done, jumping from League One, winning the title with Omaha 2 years ago, and now he's built a juggernaut in his first full season in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, a lot of experts said they fancied him to do well at Tampa Bay, and he certainly has so far.
He's one of the better footballing minds that's come out of USL League One for certain. Rodriguez, stretch. Bryant. Armas there to disrupt. Westchester readying 2 changes. Blumstein and Baumann are set to replace McGlynn and Evans. And that will transpire momentarily. Double change. Westchester looking to tighten up shop. Baumann, a deeper lying midfielder than McGlynn, and Blumstein himself provides some target man capabilities.
Yeah, a little bit of fresh energy, especially when you're down to 10 men. Just need those bodies to come on and sprint from A to B and just close down anything that Sarasota might be trying to create.
Bender bends in across. Dickerson clears away at the second time of asking. You mentioned the counter-attacking potential. Blumstein, at the end of the Corpus Christi match, did get in behind the back line as they looked for a 6th, then did draw a red card on Jack Keeney at the death. So he's shown some capability to get free on the break. Walker. Stretch. Bolaños. Overlapping run on this occasion. Armas away. Blumstein looking for an avenue the other direction, but that had too much on it. Fans, the USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Here's Bolaños for Sarasota. Cross in towards McLaughlin, and that is the most routine stop Hammersley will have all evening.
He's had a bit more to do second half, hasn't he, Hammersley? Very quiet opening 30 minutes, hardly involved at all, but had a couple of saves to make. One very good one. 2 that sort of he half dealt with but got away with. So in the end, it's a clean sheet, and that I think his manager will be most impressed with. But it's a clean sheet so far anyway.
At 1-0, he made a bevy of key stops to keep Sarasota at bay. That afforded Westchester the opportunity to counter and grab that second. Inside the final 10 minutes, Sam Goldfarb, the former Manchester United goalkeeper Gary Bailey, bringing you the conclusion of this. A Dean Guzen double is what separates the two sides, sandwiching a Max Jennings second yellow card. Was dealt 2 yellow cards within a minute of each other. Bolaños looking to add intrigue, flashes across the face, and finally dealt with by Pierre, albeit rather unconvincingly.
Wow, Bolaños once again, he is that player and he creates this opportunity. Great pace, puts it into the danger area. Just saying to somebody, slide in there. I think it just goes in front of McLaughlin and they can't get it at the far post. But another really good move there from Bolaños.
Pierre recovering well at the back post, but they are fortunate nobody got on the end of that before that point. McLaughlin muscled off it by Pierre. Strong performance from Bobby Pierre tonight. Walker. O'Dwyer. Stretch. Waters in acres of space. Pings it forward, and Hammersley is there to claim. Hearing word that Hugo Bäckstrand, the Swedish standout and former youth international, is getting set to replace Andres Rodriguez in that dual pivot in midfield. Here's Bryant. O'Dwyer. Walker. Bolaños. Walker is looking for Bolaños again. Well, Gary, if you are Westchester and you see this out with a clean sheet, what type of confidence does that bring you ahead of that key fixture on Tuesday night?
It brings you confidence, most certainly, because you're going to go up the table. The clean sheet has been much needed after 9 goals in 4 games, but you're still going to face NYCFC. It's one of those games I don't think you expect to win as a player from a lower division. You hope to, of course. You give it your best shot, but you just want to play against them. You want that thrill of playing against an MLS side.
They're countering here. Blumstein. And now forced to hold up and wait for extras. It is certainly a match on paper they won't be favored in. And even if NYCFC rotates, you'd fancy them to bring in some of their heavy hitters in case they need reinforcements. You never know. The magic of the cup away from home on a turf pitch.
There's been shocks before where lower league sides have knocked out MLS opposition. Very rarely. I think the one I did actually a few years back was North Colorado Hailstorm. They went away from home to an MLS team. I think it was Chicago Stars, but I stand corrected anyway. Chicago Fire, rather. And they got the result. Absolutely brilliant performance by a League One side.
It is few and far between. Union Omaha, I believe, may have upset Sporting KC on penalties once as well.
It could even have been Real Salt Lake, trying to dig in the memory banks. Either way, it has happened, which means that, and that's the thing, if you're Westchester, you're excited because, yeah, the chances are that you won't do it, but imagine if you could. That's what the Cup's all about, that belief.
There's the change. It's Bäckstrand in. It is Rodriguez out. Keep in mind, last year, NYCFC cup set by Pittsburgh Riverhounds of USL Championship. That thrilling late goal from Beto Itrag, if I'm not mistaken. That was at Highmark Stadium in one of the thrillers of the tournament. Well, it's Hugo Bäckstrand's debut as a professional. Joined from Malmo's U19 side on March 27th. This floated forward. O'Dwyer's offside. Fans, don't miss your chance to be part of history when we host our first MLS opponent next week at Memorial Field. Westchester host NYCFC on Tuesday, April 14th at 7:30. Don't miss your chance to see one of the most exciting matches of the year. Closing stages of this one, Dean Guzen's brace separates the two sides, and despite a second yellow card shown to Max Jennings on 61 minutes, Westchester still in the driver's seat. They have defended with aplomb down the stretch here. Burko. Looking for the run of Blumstein. And more opportunity to burn time off the clock.
Lots of lessons to be learned from this, from Sarasota away from home. I thought they did the first half well, just coping with the being away from home for the first time this entire season, and on a turf pitch, and the weather, all those things. I thought they really did well, but what they haven't been able to do is just create enough big chances at the other. And there's been a couple of shots that Hammersley's dealt with, but not enough clinical nature, which is something that Mika Elevara was asking for, to be clinical up front. Something that certainly Westchester have been able to.
Burko appealing for handball, waved away. Didn't have many chances to be clinical with, but those first 10 minutes after the restart, they had opportunities that on a different day, if they take them, perhaps it's a different fixture. Instead, it may be a third defeat through their opening 5 matches. Meanwhile, Westchester will shoot up into the top 8 for the first time all season long. And that a monumental accomplishment after finishing bottom of the table a year ago. At the moment, Westchester would climb to 5th before the fixtures this weekend. 2 minutes of added time presented by Mar & Mar.
Well, that would be fantastic for Westchester if they can get into that position 5th, because that does your confidence a world of good when you look at the table. For Sarasota, well, only 4 goals scored in 5 games, unless they can score in the next 2 minutes. 7 conceded in 5 games. It's stuff you can work with. You know you've got decent players, and Mika Elevara is a good coach. He will get a lot more from this team, but you do start to get a little bit frustrated that time after time you're not getting something out of a match. So maybe you could have got yourself a draw. Maybe in previous games they could have got a point or 2 out of those games, and they haven't been able to do it. So there'll be a little bit of frustration, I would think, in the Sarasota locker room if they don't come back and get 2 goals in the next minute or 2, which I guess is unlikely.
It would have to start from this set piece. Chandler O'Dwyer and Ethan Bryant are the 2 over it. Otherwise, they are destined for a 2nd consecutive defeat. O'Dwyer, always rising, cleared the wrong set of goalposts.
And having played 4 at home, this is their first away, Sarasota. They've got a lot more away games to come, having had all these home games. But it's your first season. You're not expecting to finish that high up in the table. If you can make the playoffs, unbelievable. But I think Mika Elevara and all the ownership will know that this is going to be a slow-ish process, and there's going to be a few bumps along the road. But they have shown some good quality over the last few matches.
They are ambitious, but it may take time for everything to gel. Their next fixture away at Naples. That will be a turf setting, but in the state of Florida, so conditions slightly more favorable than tonight. Westchester, they can turn the page to New York City FC on Tuesday night. They don't return to league play until that high-profile trip to Boise on April 18th. That will be a fun one in front of a packed crowd that broke the attendance record on Saturday in their draw with Spokane.
By the way, talking of big clashes for Westchester, Sarasota Paradise are away at Tampa Bay Rowdies in the USL Cup, so that's going to be a fun game for them.
The Prinks Tires Cup beginning on April 25th, and that is their first fixture. It's not necessarily the friendliest of openers.
Or the easiest away at Tampa Bay Rowdies, who've won every game they've played so far this season in the USL. But in the same as Westchester playing NYCFC, it's just the excitement of playing teams at a higher level and testing yourself out against those players.
Alexi Armas is testing his pace there and lost the foot race with Waters as the full-time whistle sounds. Strong performance from Westchester. They kill the match off despite a 2nd yellow card. A Dean Guzen brace making the difference as they make it back-to-back league victories.
I think that's well described. They've scored 2 good goals. They haven't conceded. They've been down to 10 men and still managed the process. I think you have to be very, very happy if you're George Jakai there. And for Mika Elevara, I think there's some positives you can take away. Certainly the way they defended in the first half, Sarasota, they soaked it up and came in at halftime 0-0. They just couldn't quite do enough second half to make an impact.
7 points through the opening 5 matches for Westchester SC. Takes them into the top 5 of the USL League One table. We'll take a quick breather when we return and look back at the 90 minutes that just transpired here in Westchester County. Westchester, the victors tonight. The magic of Omar Hunt US Open Cup returns to Soccer County tonight.
Saved by Molina, Westchester prevails.
It is is a flying start for Westchester. And it's all signed, sealed, and delivered.
Raising health means elevating the care that we can get in our backyard. The Westchester Soccer Club is part of the United Soccer League that has now expanded into Westchester.
It's a brand new USL One team competing all across the country, bringing the love for the sport of soccer to the area.
Northwell is going to provide them the best care possible, going to the games, making sure that we're on site for each home game. If an injury pops up, we get those players in immediately.
The partnership between the Westchester Soccer Club and Northwell Health is very exciting.
Northwell's vision is to raise health, so we offer the full gamut of orthopedic services, serving the community in Westchester. That's where my family lives, that's where I live, and that's my purpose here.
We welcome you back to Westchester County, where Westchester makes it 6 points from an available 6 through their last 2 matches. They climb into the top 5 of the USL League One table. Gives us a chance to take a look at our full-time highlights. And Gary, it is a match that started slow, but Westchester picked up the pace in the second half. Span of about 13 minutes, and he powers Westchester to their second consecutive league victory. You look at the full-time stats, looks a little more even than perhaps it felt.
Yeah, it was very much one way until Westchester had that player send-off. Then they had to defend a little bit more. But if you add in expected goals, 1.73 for the home side, which is very roughly 2 goals, 0.6 for Sarasota. So they didn't create the chances, only 3 shots on target. Didn't do enough going forward, but they're a team that are being built over the course of the season. I think there's going to be a lot more to come from Sarasota Paradise later on. But in the meantime, well done, Westchester.
Westchester winning once again. They add 6 points to their league ledger in the span of about a week, and they move into the top 5 of the USL League One table. For our terrific crew and my broadcast partner, Gary Bailey, I'm Sam Goldfarb, saying so long from Westchester County, where Westchester prevails in 2-0 fashion. A Dean Guzen brace making the difference. Have a great rest of your night, everyone. From Westchester, signing off.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.